Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. We've got a 2000 Hilux here and we've got a customer complaint that it is using too much fuel, 16 litres per 100k. So I would say, yep, that's a fair bit, but I think we need to take a look at the vehicle to get a picture. It has got all-terrain tyres, okay? It's got a fair bit of weight going on there. It's got the big alloy on the back, some solar panels, things on the roof, stuff like that as well. So we're just gathering information at the moment, trying to work out why it would be using so much fuel. And part of the information we've gathered so far, the injectors have been replaced recently. Did you say about 20,000 k's ago? And they're just a bit rank. It's sort of ranking from where I am, but because the injectors, they look like they're new actually, so that's good. We've got the intercooler off so we can see they do look new, not remanufactured from what we can see. But you can see they haven't replaced the fuel pipes, have they? Look at that. So you can see the old wear and tear on the nuts, and you can see the clamps here. They need to be secured, not floating up and down the fuel pipes like that. But that's got obviously nothing to do with the fuel economy. So we've had a look on the scan tool. There's a little bit higher load reading and there's a little bit more fuel being injected at idle. So there is a bit extra fuel going in, so we're not sure what reason. But as you can probably, and you might have seen by now as well, there is a chip here as well. It's got the Steinbauer on there, so I'm not sure how much, I'm not sure what the story is there. You know, the story is that chips save fuel, isn't it? You know, you use less fuel. It's all got also got an aftermarket exhaust, so it's got a bigger exhaust, and it's got a K&N air filter in there, so it's going to breathe a bit better. But does that mean it's going to work a bit easier with that and the chip, the air intake, the exhaust? I mean, I'd sort of be expecting a bit more performance from those things. So more performance means more air, which means more fuel. You know, more fuel, more air, more boost, more fuel for the performance. So you can see the way the Steinbauer works. It's a piggyback setup. So instead of plugging your wiring loom into your injector, it gets plugged into the plug that goes back to the chip, and the wiring from the chip gets plugged into the injector. So that's what's going on there for the people that didn't know. Okay, what we've done, we've just taken the intercooler off and the throttle body because we want to have a look. Obviously, I think the map filter's cracked and needs replacing as well. Okay, nothing abnormal about that. That's all normal. All the regulars already know that sort of stuff, but I just sort of mention in case there's anybody new watching. There's a whole lot of information in our videos. Check the injector information and the EGR playlist in particular for stuff like this. You want to subscribe and turn the bell on so you don't miss this genuine, accurate information, right? We're here to help. It's got the long SCV down there because it's a 2012. If you want to know more about the SCV, check the playlist. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take a look in the intake here, just in the, I'm not sure how much we'll see. I'll have to grab a light or turn the light on this camera. So just give me a sec and we'll get organized with the light situation. Ooh, that looks a bit nasty, doesn't it? That looks a bit gooey. Yeah, is that, I mean, actually, it's hard to tell till you get the EGR off how bad it is or how bad it's been. Now, for people that are not too sure what I'm talking about, okay, so when we use the word EGR, there's a whole lot of confusion sometimes because EGR stands for exhaust gas recirculation. Obviously, it's coming out through the EGR coolant. So yeah, that is your dirty old exhaust gases with, this had 260,000 K injectors on it. You reckon they could be worn, putting out a bit of extra soot, bit extra carbon, and then that's what's getting injected back into your intake, sticking to, there's a very super small amount of oil from normal engine breathing, if you like, through the valve cover. There's like a filter system in there. Only takes a very small amount of oil in there, and the real problem, the soot, the EGR soot sticks to that oil. And then, of course, more oil, more soot, and it can cake it up. All depends. There's a lot of varying factors we're not going to go into in this video. But to know, look, I can virtually tell you that every 1KD FTV should have a EGR clean and some sort of solution put in place. Some people think that's a catch can. Good on them. They can do that if they like. If it's like the Band-Aid for the real problem, but you know, you can do that if you like. It costs money. It connects up here. It may reduce the effectiveness of the breathing system here and how clean your engine stays. It could block up and cause other problems, but this isn't a catch can video. What would be good is no EGR flow or less EGR flow, and there's a plate for that. You know, the plate with a 7mm hole. If you don't know, keep watching the videos. Anyway, every 1KD should have a EGR clean. That should be clean because that means all this comes off, and see those bolts down the back there? Then you're looking down into the manifold and you can actually see and work out how bad it is, whether it needs a manifold clean. And this may need that. And obviously, while the injectors are getting replaced is the time to do that, because as you can see, this one's pretty clean. It's not an off-roader, dirt, dust, mud and all that sort of thing. But you can see, you know, the potential, and if you see our other video, the potential for all the dirt, dust, mud, sand and everything to pull up in the bottom of those seals there. And then when you take these pipes off, guess what happens? Yes, contamination to the injectors. Worse than, you know, it's direct contamination. You need to be very careful. So to remove these pipes and injectors safely, everything would need to be super clean. You need to take every precaution and some. Now these fuel pipes, it looks like it's just about rubbed through. So that's kind of not good either. I don't know how good or bad that is. I need to get in there. But in my opinion, the EJAR, we've got a full length video on that. It goes for an hour, nearly 2 hours. Full detail EJAR clean. Check that on our channel. It's very popular. Thousands and thousands of people have watched it and used it to clean their EJAR, and then they bring in the vehicle for injectors, or they do it themselves. You know, we've got the injector kits available Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. But all that aside, this needs to come off to clean up that as a minimum, to then see if you think the manifold needs clean, to see if the manifold's caked up. Once you've got that off and you look down, as you've seen in our other videos, you've got a fair idea if there's much blockage, because if there is a blockage in the intake manifold, then the engine's going to work harder to suck the air in. Now, we've cleaned the MAF sensor. That's over there, top left corner over here. Right, we've cleaned that. We've checked the air filter. It's a K&N, so it's going to be breathing fine. It's not creating a load. It's got an aftermarket exhaust. So we're going through things, trying to work out. So I've got to say, there's a lot of different varying fuel economy people get from Hiluxes or Vigos. You know, you hear some people going, oh, I get 8 litres per 100 k's, 9 litres, 10 litres, 11, 12, 13. Let's even talk about the tank, right? Some people say, oh, mate, look, I can be quite honest and tell you that I could get 800 k's out of a tank. In my brand new 2011 Hilux that was stock standard, I could get 800 k's out of it, because I used to get better than 10 litres per 100 k's. I used to regularly see trips where the trip computer was on, if I'm cruising at 60 on flat ground, 6 to 7 litres per 100 k's at 100 k's an hour, about 7 or 8, up to about 8 litres per 100 k's. And then, of course, the faster you go, the more you use. And then the mods happen. Then you have the bull bar, the winch is down there as well, the lights, all this sort of stuff. You know, the bash plates, all these things add on. All the modifications add weight, and the vehicle gets older, things get dirtier. So yes, you need fresh injectors, fuel pipes, clean intakes, new MAP filters, clean air filters. All your sensors need to be clean, in working condition, fuel filters, all your normal maintenance. Probably what oil you use can make, but they all make a little bit of difference. You know, the tires, the type of tires and the size make the biggest difference. The wind resistance, the weight you're carrying, your tire pressures. And that's what I think's going on with this. That's why I'm talking about it. I believe it's a whole heap of small contributing factors. And where I believe he's noticed the changes, more of a different driving. Used to do more cruisier 80k zone trips, you know, say 30 to 40 minutes, cruising at 80k's. You're going to get a lot better economy than a cold start driving 5k's, or a long drive up a hill traveling at 115, 120. The faster you go, the more fuel you use, especially with more wind resistance and more weight. So what's going on here? You know, it's probably getting a bit older, needs a bit of maintenance. I assume these injectors were new, you know, so look, if we were going to do something on it, we try and save those. But the risk is now, if we're going to clean the manifold, which we're not going to clean it until we check it, we've got to check it first. We've got to get the EJAR elbow off, which won't be happening today. This is more of a check to see where it's at. But I can't really, you know, tell too much from looking at that, you know. It's not, that's a pretty ugly scene, isn't it, right? It is a pretty ugly scene, which is why I say as a minimum we want to clean that. This looks like one that's been really caked up pretty badly. The engine's got older. It's got a bit of oil blow-by, because you can see the oil slick over the top of it. Take a look again. See, it's wet. So it's got to a point now that it needs to pull the air that it needs. It's no longer holding any EJAR soot. It's just the oil over the top, and it's almost kind of like, it's just wet seal. It's like a concrete sealer over the top of the soot, right? But it's sort of slippery. And it would be a really messy, hard one to clean, you know, extra charges, extra slabs of Heineken, the green boxes for the workers doing the cleaning, and of course, box of Coronas for me to keep me talking. Anyway, something different. But look, yeah, I'm getting a bit dry now, so I've got to go soon. Thanks for watching. Like I said, subscribe, turn the bell on. You don't want to miss this stuff. There may be further videos on this vehicle you don't want to miss. If you're getting higher fuel economy than normal, then your biggest contributing factors are your tyres, size and type, modifications, wind resistance, speed you're travelling at, all your maintenance like injectors and cleanliness of all these systems so that they can operate normally. It's got the 4-speed auto. It's typically not the most economical at all. It's probably making the engine work its hardest. They're detuned compared to a Prado, so it's actually working harder because it hasn't got the torque. So it's constantly at revs, working away with the torque converter slipping, burning up fuel and not delivering that power or torque to the wheels. It's kind of, I'll be quite honest, the 4-speed auto behind this engine, it's not the greatest. And you know, the manual will be better, and of course the 5-speed auto, those things which are in the late 13 onwards, the 5-speed auto, the A750F. That's what you want. You want the 5-speed auto or you want the 5-speed manual. Look, the auto would be my preference, but obviously you got to pay a fair bit more to get a 5-speed auto version than you do a 4-speed auto, because obviously some people know. Some people that are in the know. Now, this has also had the fan hub replaced. I'm not sure what difference that made, but you can see the workmanship and on the nuts and stuff like that. So it's got an aftermarket, well, it's got an aftermarket cover over that pulley. So maybe it's an aftermarket pulley. I'm not sure. It's got some aftermarket coolant. Look, it's got a few things, but to be honest, I don't think there's any one main contributing factor to the fuel economy here. As I sort of said at the start, you put a chip, you put a bigger exhaust, you put a nice air filter that the engine can breathe, it's going to work better for you, but there's a price to pay. You don't get better performance out of anything. You're going to get more airflow with the better performance, and with more air equals more fuel. It's as simple as that, okay? You can't get energy out of nothing, okay? So bada bing, that's what I believe. That's where it's at. We're going to finish checking this vehicle, give some final advice to the client, which the vehicle hasn't been here before. And that's probably going to be, as I've said here already, I just don't think there's any one thing that's wrong that's causing this issue. I think, you know, the exhaust is on there now. There's not much you can do. I actually like the K&N filter. I've got no issue with that. If it was my vehicle, what would I do? Okay, I'd pull the E-jar off, right? What, you know, it's not just do as I say, not as I do. It's also, I know it's monkey see, monkey do. So I'm going to tell you what I'll do to my vehicle. And of course, this is what I recommend for you. I can't stand those dirty old fuel pipes, by the way. It's a pity they've already been done and you spent about $3 getting half a job done, just the injectors, slap those in, bend the pipes back. It's just ranking from here, isn't it? Yeah. Southeast side of Melbourne is where the job got done. I don't like to, you know, I'm not here to bag anyone, but you take it to a reputable diesel shop and I'd expect better. This is just ranking from here. Like, it says bold in the workshop manual, new injectors, new pipes. You know, we've got so many reasons for it. We're totally on board with that. So what would I do? You're waiting for the answer. I'd get rid of the chip. Straight away, I'd get rid of that. I'd sell that and recover some money. Okay, so you'll get some money from people that will buy that. People that don't watch my information and my channel will buy something like that. You probably get $600 for it, I reckon. What are they? They're about 1,500 new. I reckon you might even get probably $700 for that, you know, somebody that wants to go a bit faster. So sell the chip. Yep, take the E-jar off, clean that out, see what the manifold looks like. But if it was my vehicle, because I'd clean the manifold anyway. So clean E-jar, clean manifold. I think the injectors will be okay. If we can get those out cleanly, you know, looks like we probably can. They can go back in reseated so we make sure the job's done right. New fuel pipes. But I'm not saying that I'm going to expect a massive improvement. Little things like replacing the map filter could help. We might even do that now. We've cleaned the MAF sensor. We said that already. So these things could make a small difference. Checking the tire pressures, and of course not carrying. If you've got weight in the vehicle, accessories, you can remove anything that, you know, just to make it easier. Weight is really only going to make a difference every time you get going. Once you're up to speed, 60 k's and cruising, it doesn't really make much difference unless you're constantly going up hills. Then obviously weight makes a difference, but on flat ground, once you're up to speed, it's not a big deal, to be quite honest. Anyway, we'll wrap this one up. We'll let you know if there's any changes in another video further down the road if we get some feedback. Thanks for watching. Like I said, subscribe, turn the bell and hit the like button if you learnt something. And it's a bada bing, bada boom, all right? Last little note, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, for anyone that was wondering. Outback exhaust, and he said it's his biggest regret because of the extra noise it makes. So there you go. I thought while we're at it, we'll have a look at a quick inspection, add a couple more minutes. A bloody good KO2 going to waste there because they've been replaced with other tyres that have done 80,000 Ks already, these Michelins. So that KO2 needs to go somewhere else. Okay, so tough dog. Not so tough this time because you can see how wet it is. That's a leaking shock absorber. You can see, let's follow through the big exhaust and have a quick look at that. There it goes up to there, no oil leaks, 260K. Looks like someone's definitely had that transmission oil. The pan's been off, you can see it's a different gasket. And there's a bloody bolt in there, that's ridiculous. So someone's obviously over tightened that and had to re-tap it. You gotta be really careful who you let work on vehicles, don't you? Original front struts wearing the tyres a little bit. They're well and truly flogged. All your drive shaft boots and everything's still in good condition. Usual sort of stuff, nothing to see up here. Let's have a quick look at these lower control arm bushes. The Hiluxes, they seem to stay pretty good, don't they? Yeah, not too bad. They look good to me. We're not going to sell many Hilux arms. That's it. I'm not keeping any Hilux arms in stock anymore. If you're doing front lower control arms, we can get them, but I'm not keeping them in stock ready to go because the last set that were there. Have I got a set there? I've got one set there. So I've got one set there. When they're gone, that's it, I think. All right, that's it.